Welcome to the MAT Customization Overview. Customization of the Performance Management Assistant Component, or PMA video. After a successful installation, you have Mainframe Application Tuner, or MAT, and its Performance Management Assistant, or PMA, component installed on your site. You perform separate customization procedures for MAT and PMA. The PMA customization procedure includes 11 steps that define the PMA operational parameters, create necessary libraries, configure connection with MAT. Optional customization step 12 helps you upgrade from earlier versions of PMA and migrate the existing data. After you executed the customization steps, you launch PMA and perform the post-customization actions where you define the initial PMA operational settings. The PMA customization application is called CustPCT. To run the CustPCT application, use the CustPCT member that you can find in the library shown here. You define the MAT high-level qualifier during the installation of MAT. For example, if your MAT high-level qualifier, or HLQ, is apm.qatt.mat12tas.v12inc2, you can start CustAPCT by executing the command shown from the ISPF interface. When started, CustAPCT prompts you to provide an HLQ for the PMA customization control libraries that will be used for storing the customization definitions and tracking the customization progress. Also, specify the unit and volume ID where you want to create the library. Press Enter when done. The customization dataset is now created. The PMA customization dialog shows the list of customization steps and the status of their completion. Step 1. Specify HLQ and job card for customization jobs. Select Step 1 and press Enter. During the customization, and consequently, during the normal operation, PMA submits many different jobs. In this step, you specify the job card details for all the jobs, such as job name and account number. Also, specify the prefix for all datasets where PMA will store these jobs. The maximum length of the prefix is 17 characters. The PMA customization Step 1 is now successfully completed. Step 2. Create parameter data set. Select Step 2 and press Enter. Review and modify, if necessary, the name of the parameter data set where PMA will store all the customization parameters. Then select Option 1 to create the data set. If you want to copy the existing PMA customization parameters, for example, when migrating from earlier versions, use Option 2 and provide the source parameter data set name. Review the CustJT02JCL that creates the parameter data set. Specify the volume serial if differs from the default. Then submit the job. When the job completes, the parameter data set is created in the specified library. The PMA customization Step 2 is now successfully completed. Step 3. Specify operational defaults. Select Step 3 and press Enter. Specify the attributes for the product datasets that PMA creates and uses for its operation: physical sequential, or PS, partition organized, or PO, VSAM, and temporary datasets. Keep the defaults of other parameters, or refer to the documentation for details. The PMA customization Step 3 is now successfully completed. Step 4. Verify target data set names. Select Step 4 and press Enter. Verify the names for the target data sets for the PMA operational libraries. For the dataset prefix, use your initial MAT PMA high-level qualifier that you obtained with the product installation, in this case, apm.qatt.mat12keas.v12inc2. The PMA customization Step 4 is now successfully completed. Step 5. Verify user data set names. Select Step 5 and press Enter. Verify the names for the datasets for the libraries with the PMA user data, such as PMA operational jobs and so on. We recommend that for the dataset prefix, you use your PMA high-level qualifier that you specified at the beginning of PMA customization, in this case, apm.qatt.spidemo. The PMA customization Step 5 is now successfully completed. Step 6. Verify data cluster names. Select Step 6 and press Enter. Verify the names for the VSAM data clusters that PMA will use for storing various operational data. For the dataset prefix, you use your PMA high-level qualifier that you specified at the beginning of PMA customization, in this case, apm.qatt.spidemo. The PMA customization Step 6 is now successfully completed. Step 7. Create user datasets. Select Step 7 and press Enter. PMA has prepared the Job Cust JT07, which will create the PMA user datasets as specified in Step 5. Review the JCL, then submit the job. When the Job Cust JT07 successfully finishes, you can verify that all the newly created PMA libraries are now available. The PMA customization Step 7 is now successfully completed. Step 8. Create data cluster. Select Step 8 and press Enter. When you run Step 8, PMA automatically starts a process that generates and saves VSAM definition members for PMA data clusters, as specified in Step 6. The members are saved in the control library. When the generation process finishes, press Enter. Review the details of the CUS-JT08 job that creates the PMA data clusters. Then submit the job. When the job CUS-JT08 successfully finishes, you can verify that all the newly created PMA KSDS datasets are now available. The PMA customization Step 8 is now successfully completed. Step 9. Create Start Exec. Select Step 9 and press Enter. Review and modify, if needed, the dataset name for the PMA Startup Exec. Then press Enter. Review the PMA Startup Exec member, APC, which you will use to launch PMA. Press F3 to save the member. Review details of the APC PARM member that is stored in MAT UTR PARM library. The member keeps the parameters that are necessary for data transition and interaction between PMA and MAT. In this step, PMA populates the values for the PMA TSO, PMA CLIBE, and PMA ELIBE parameters based on the values from the previous PMA customization steps and internal settings. We recommend that you not change these values. Press F3 to save the member. After saving, you can verify the contents of the PMA Startup member, APC, that is located in the PMA Exec library. The PMA customization Step 9 is now successfully completed. Step 10. Create JCL members and JCL procs. Select Step 10 and press Enter. In this step, you provide the data set name for your MAT load library CEESPLD. In this case, apm.qatt.mat12tas.v12 inc2.ceespld. When you press Enter, PMA populates the control library with the JCL members for the PMA batch jobs and server procedures. The PMA customization Step 10 is now successfully completed. Step 11. Customize measurement product interface. Select Step 11 and press Enter. After selecting Step 11, PMA generates and displays the REX exec data set APCXRTUN. This procedure interlinks MAT and PMA. In the APCXRTUN member, provide your MAT configuration details that you defined in Step 8 of the MAT customization. Your MAT TSO client REX exec, which is typically MATTune RC, and the MAT UTR SAMP library. Save the member when done. The PMA customization Step 11 is now successfully completed. Step 12, optional. Upgrade PMA. If you are upgrading from earlier versions of PMA, you can execute the customization Step 12, which guides you through the upgrading process depending on your current version and migrates your data to the new version of PMA. For more information, refer to the documentation. After you have completed the PMA customization steps, you can quit from the customization application using the X command. Start PMA by executing the APC exec. PMA has successfully started. Post-customization actions. After you have completed the PMA customization steps and launched PMA, you need to perform the initial setup of several PMA parameters. Defer the creation of performance alerts at least for 30 days after PMA has started monitoring your environment. Select option 5, PMA parameters, then X1, General Central Component parameters. Specify the value of 30 for the parameter, number of days PMA shall collect job step stats before doing alerts. This setting enables you to collect the initial statistics about regular jobs in your environment, daily, weekly, and monthly jobs, and calculate performance baseline without creating excessive alerts and triggering MAT measurements. Press F3 to save. If you are already aware of certain jobs and programs that you want to specifically include in or exclude from the monitoring scope, you can define such inclusions and/or exclusions now. You can also define or refine the scope after the initial 30-day monitoring period. Use the X2 option to define the scope of work. For detailed information about how to define the inclusion and exclusion rules, use the separate tutorials or refer to the documentation. To enable PMA to collect the performance data, you need to start PMA server that dynamically gathers SMF records 30, subtype 4. You start it by submitting the APC-SJSTC job that you can find in the PMA control library. Before you run the PMA server startup job, ensure that the CEET-auth and CEESPLD libraries are APF authorized. As an alternative to running PMA server, you can perform the initial import of SMF records 30. Subtype 4 from a longer period of time, for example, for the last 3 months, using the APC-XJSMF job. This import also helps PMA create performance baseline for the jobs in your environment. For more information about the initial import of SMF records, use the separate tutorials or refer to the documentation. Either of the methods results in the job step information being recorded in the list of all monitored jobs in PMA. PMA customization, and the minimum initial configuration is completed. For more information and feedback, visit techdocs.broadcom.com/mat.